Welcome to this Fireside Chat with Sujatha Narayan, Senior Vice President and Regional Leader of Wabtec Corporation in India. As regional leader, Sujatha is responsible for the region that includes India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. In her close to 4 years as Managing Director of Transit Business in India, she has led the company through a period of unprecedented profitable growth with a passionate focus on customer satisfaction, operational efficiency, compliance, and employee satisfaction. In 2019, under her leadership, Wabtec Transit Business was certified as a Great Place to Work by Great Place to Work Institute. Welcome, Ms. Narayan.
You.
Let me begin by asking you exactly what does the future of railway infrastructure look like to you?
Do you mean the world, or you specifically talking about India?
In your opinion, yes, I'm talking about India specifically right now.
Yeah, India and the India rail transport market is actually the largest market in the world currently, and it is coming based on the fact that there is a massive modernization, transformation that is going on from an Indian Railways perspective, focused on speed, focused on safety, driving the freight, moving it from the roads to the rail, primarily to improve the logistic costs of the company. At the same time, with the level of urbanization we have, the metro and the regional rapid systems are also looking at exploding. So today, I think from the stable and infrastructure focused government that we have, I would anticipate, which is evident from the budget as well that was presented in April, that the railway infrastructure is going to grow in leaps and bounds. This is going to involve growth in really comprehensively in every way. We're talking about wagons, coaches, locomotives from a rolling stock perspective. Rail lines are going to be, networks are going to be doubled, tripled, quadrupled in some cases. Electrification is almost complete. There is going to be a complete signaling infrastructure transformation. Really looking forward to the next 10 years, I think Indian Railways has gone through stages of inflection points. We started off with the broad gauge implementation. There was the electrification and the LHB coaches, and now we are seeing a very specific inflection point with a very clear strategy that was laid out in the National Rail Plan and a number of actions that have followed that as well.
So, if we talk about your company specifically, which are the significant rail projects that your company is involved in?
So really, I mean, if I talk about across the world, there are numerous. North America is a big market, but if I really specifically stay focused on India, you know that we in 2015 we won a landmark project in delivering 1,000 diesel locomotives to the country and maintaining them as well. That project has actually hit its midpoint this year. We have delivered 500 locomotives, and we have been really, it's been a supremely successful project. And I think it has heralded an era where Indian Railways is comfortable with public private partnership, which they are trying to do a lot more of that now. So that's a very successful project. We also have our transit business where we sell brake components and a variety of other components that go into trains. We don't build the trains themselves, but they go into trains. And that has also been a very successful business for us. And one of the key projects that we're working on right now is the Vande Bharat, and we all hear about it in the media all the time these days. But this is a new indigenously designed, fantastic rolling stock for the first time, meeting global standards and how a passenger train should be like in terms of comfort and speed, and basically the passenger experience. We are delighted that we have existing orders in a number of components. We have orders today for the brake systems, which are fairly complex. For the passenger access doors, this is automatic doors, unlike the traditional coaches. We have it for couplers, pantographs, etc. So that's another big project we're focused on. The third piece is in our digital intelligence business. We've earlier last year we won this condition-based monitoring program for online monitoring of rolling stock, and we are actually in the early stages of kicking that project off right now. So lots of exciting things happening in India, very much focused on all of that.
So what would it look like, say in the next financial year, the upcoming year, basically?
What look like? I'm sorry.
What would the Wabtec plan in the railway infrastructure look like in the upcoming year?
So I'll answer your question differently. In way back in 2020, this was about the March timeframe, just before COVID kicked off. We envisioned a plan for being a $1 billion enterprise, right? And we have actually been tracking, in spite of COVID, quite well to that. I specifically use the word enterprise and not the business, and that's because we've broken this growth journey that we have defined into local business, which is what we call India for India, and a global business, which is what can India do for the world, right? And it's about approximately 700, 300 kind of a breakup. And we were tracking very nicely. So when we put this plan together, we were about uh, $450 million or so in revenue. We are getting close to 600 million now. So we're tracking, and so year on year we will just track that plan. And we do see that as we have set up the business in India and built a team, we've got more than 3,000 employees. 1,500 of them are engineers who are working both on India as well as global programs across all the product lines that we have. With the kind of engineering strength we have more than 3 million square feet of factories that we run in India. We actually do believe that we are very well set up to support whether it's Indian Railways or metro corporations or RRTS or the NCRTC. And so we think we will be able to track this path. At the same time, while we've done all this, we've built a big supplier base. We're finding that we're able to bring a lot of value to the corporation. We have engineers in India who are delivering so much work for global projects. Interestingly, you would be fascinated to note that all the international locomotives that Wabtec builds is designed out of India. We are, for example, working on new technologies to be more sustainable from an ESG perspective. One of the identified areas is in hydrogen based locomotives, and that is being led out of India. So, so this engineering wise, we're bringing a lot of value to the corporation. Similarly, we're also sourcing a lot of components because of the extensive supplier ecosystem we have built. We have, over the last 2 decades, worked very closely with small and large suppliers. We've helped them build their quality systems and their performance. And so we are now supplying more and more of our components from India to our global factories. We also think in the course of this journey, we will start building a lot more products in India for the globe.
Right. So when a company like yours is engaged in manufacturing railway locomotives, basically developing railway infrastructure, it also puts a lot of responsibility as far as issue addressing the issue of environment is concerned. So, if I may ask you, what kind of role is Wabtec going to play in reducing the carbon emissions?
I would say a very significant one, right? Because let me start off with the fact that while we cater to a lot of different markets, but we are primarily a railways company. And we're all aware that railways is the most sustainable form of transportation, whether you move people or you move goods. In terms of its impact on environment, safety, etc., railways is the best solution. So we're already in a very sustainable space. Wabtec Corporation has completely pinned its future on decarbonization and ESG. So this is a huge focus for us. And if you look at the investments into R&D and our strategic plan for the company, it is all centered around the theme of sustainability. It's evident in the fact that recently we actually announced a brand new C-suite position of Chief Sustainability Officer. And this person was actually one of the most senior leaders of the company that took this role. And we are benchmarking best practices. So there's a lot we are doing. First and foremost, if I can break it up into a few buckets. First, what is it that we are doing in our own sites, right, in terms of contributing to sustainability? And then the second would be What are our products and services doing to drive a more sustainable future? And the third is related to really the life cycle of our products and the thought process around circular economy. So if I look at the first bucket, which is really on our sites, we are actually following the GHG emissions requirements. So that's greenhouse gases. And we have committed to a 50% reduction in emissions for scope 1 and scope 2 by 2030 with a baseline of 2019. So that's announced, and that plan is in target running. And in 2024, we expect to announce it for the scope 3 targets as well. What I'm particularly delighted is that actually India and the factories in India and the sites in India are leading from a world perspective. If you go into our website, log into our sustainability report, you will actually see multiple references to India. So we're very proud of that. We have led this passionately. 5 years back, we said, hey, we will aim to become fully self sufficient in all natural resources. So we've rainwater harvesting in both our large sites. We don't get a drop of water from outside except for drinking water. For running our plants, cleaning, and everything, we generate our own water. From a waste management, we don't have any waste going out. We've got solar panels to generate our electricity, et cetera, et cetera. So really a lot of excellent work that's being done around the world as well as in India. If I move into the second bullet, our innovation institution is all centered around decarbonization and pollution reduction, etc. So whether you talk about the most recent large product introduction is the battery electric locomotive, which we call our flex locomotives, that was introduced in North America and finding its way into places like Australia and Brazil. It hasn't come to India yet, but it's expected to have a significant impact on emissions. So we have in our transit business developed an award-winning natural refrigerant-based, air conditioners use fluorochemistry, which is not great for the environment because they are persistent. So we've developed a natural chemical-based air conditioner, which we have launched. We won awards for it. Similarly, our friction brake pads, we have developed products that will not create a lot of dust. So as trains go through home area, residential areas, it will not generate the dust that causes the pollution. So the list is very long in terms of what we are trying to do. Our digital solutions, we've got products that will actually reduce the fuel consumption of a running locomotive. So we've got them implemented, and we're continuing to work on these kinds of things. Third bucket, if you look at from a circular economy perspective, we have actually 333 million pounds of end of life material that comes back to our factory every year. Out of that, about 79% is repaired and remanufactured and sent back to our customers. 20% is recycled. It leaves only just 1% that goes back into the waste stream. So we're very proud of that. So overall, I would say, Wabtec, we're committed to a strong environmental, social, and governance framework. We want to lead the industry. We're not following. We're leading the industry when it comes to sustainability and to ensure that we have a cleaner, safer, and a sustainable future.
Thank you, Ms. Narayan, for this wonderful insight into the world of railway infrastructure. Thank you for talking to us about the scope and scale of the work that has been done by your company and what more needs to be done. Thanks a lot for this conversation.
You're
And thank
very
you for
welcome.
the infra.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.